Okay, so the first and in a lot of ways most important thing we need to do for our extended essays is to choose our subject area and our topic. This choice, not to scare you, but it's going to affect the rest of your extended essay work. And it's important to get it right at the beginning because every time you decide you want to change your subject, you have to start from scratch, and it means a lot more work. So it's really a good idea to pick a topic and see it through. So first, let's talk about the difference between your subject and your topic. The subject is the academic area that's guiding your study. These are going to be largely aligned with IB subjects that you might take as a class. So language and literature, biology, the subject you're choosing is going to determine how you approach your topic, various conventions of how the research is conducted and how you analyze your research. The topic is the idea, concept, event, or text that you're studying. So, for example, your topic might be something that could be studied in various ways across different subject areas. If I want to study Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman, I could potentially write that as an extended essay in theater, in literature, or in film. However, the subject area that I choose to write my essay in is going to determine how I approach the analysis of my target text, and each of those essays would end up looking quite a bit different. So, what do you choose first? Do you choose your subject area or do you choose your topic? There's not a right answer here. You can start in either place. If there's a topic that you really want to talk about, you know that you're interested in it, that's great. And what you're going to want to do is use the extended essay guide to look at which disciplines is that topic's going to fit well into. If you don't have a topic in mind, you want to think about your favorite subjects, the classes that you most enjoy doing the work for, and read the extended essay guides for those subjects and see if anything stands out to you. No matter what, the extended essay guide really is an important part of this initial step. What your extended essay looks like depends on the subject area you choose, and the requirements are going to vary. So you want to know what you're getting yourself into when you choose a specific topic. For example, if you want to do a language acquisition extended essay, for example, you want to do something about Spanish culture as a Spanish extended essay, you're writing that essay in Spanish, you're not writing that in English. That sometimes is something that people don't consider and really makes them either more enthusiastic or less enthusiastic about writing a language acquisition extended essay. A history essay cannot study events from the past 10 years. Anything within 10 years, IB considers current events and not history. So that would be an unnecessary way to lose a lot of points or even disqualify yourself, is to include current events in a history essay. A psychology extended essay requires that all your sources are secondary sources. You can't do psychological experiments on your friends, and sometimes that can be something of a challenge. Many science extended essays require or strongly encourage you to design your own experiment. That's not a bad thing, but you need to know that that's what's expected of you, or that that's what success truly looks like in an extended essay, so that you can be prepared for what's coming ahead. No matter what, the extended essay guide is your key to getting an A. The more closely you read it, the more familiar you are with the requirements, and the more closely your essay matches those requirements, the more likely you will get an A. It really is the best advice I can give you. So, let's say you've chosen a topic. You're going to want to do some meta-analysis of your topic and think, is this going to work? Is it specific? Is it researchable? Is it interesting? Is it manageable within the constraints of my time and resources? And is it going to help me meet the requirements of my extended essay subject area? So let's take these one at a time. First, is it specific? You can't say, I'm going to research France. That's far too broad. But even something like, I want to research the French Revolution or Marie Antoinette, those are still much too broad. We want to get as specific as possible because while 8 pages seems like a lot of writing right now, it's not a lot when it comes to getting into details of any particular subject. The more specific you are, the more detailed you're going to be able to be in your research, and that's great. It needs to be researchable. Remember my silly joke about researching internet cats. It's interesting, maybe, but is it researchable? Are you going to be able to find high quality academic research on internet famous cats? Maybe not. So no matter how much it seems interesting, it might not be something we can do. And part of what makes it researchable is whether or not it's manageable within the constraints of your time and resources. Let's say you want to research the author Zora Neale Hurston. When Alice Walker set out to do that, there wasn't a lot of research available to her. So she actually went to the place Zora Neale Hurston lived and where she died and did her own research by interviewing people, by finding her grave, which was unmarked. That is some intense research and probably not something you have time for this year. So even if it's doable, is it doable for you? Be honest with yourself about your other commitments and what it's going to take to do a extended essay well in the topic you're thinking about. Is it going to help me meet the requirements of my extended essay subject area? Again, it's all about that extended essay guide and meeting the requirements. No matter how good the paper is, if you're not doing what they've asked you to do, you're not going to do well on this project. The final thing is it interesting? Obviously that's subjective, and we're hoping it's interesting to the reader, but it also has to be interesting to you because you're going to be spending some time with this. So consider whether you're doing this project because you actually are interested in your topic or because you have some imagined idea of what smart kids do. Get rid of those preconceived notions and pick a topic that works for you. So let's look at some example topics, which are going to fit that checklist on slide 6 and which have problems. So let's first look at the first extended essay in literature, a comparison of the main characters in Huckleberry Finn and Candide. So in some ways, that's not bad. At least it's narrowed to these 2 specific books. We're asking main characters. But here's my concerns. 1, who's the main character? How do we decide who the main characters are? How far out that title extends? Why are we comparing these 2 books? What do they have to do with each other? And what about the main characters are we comparing? What's the point of this essay? There's still a lot of questions that need answered before this is an appropriate topic. The second topic in literature, the portrayal of marriages as imperfect in Middlemarch by George Eliot, that's a lot closer. We've got one specific book that we're studying. There's a specific question that we're asking: how are marriages portrayed as imperfect? It maybe has a little bit of clarity that we still need to achieve, but it's a really good starting place. The EE in biology, the effect of detergent toxicity on soil bacteria. That sounds like a clear experiment that will be done by the student and the results analyzed. That sounds like it could be a winner. But let's look at the EE in history, the coup against Allende in 1973. That is a massive topic. It's unclear what aspect of this historical event will be covered. So that does not yet work. Extended essay in math, prime numbers. Wildly too broad. You can find a lot more examples of extended essay topics and explanations of how appropriate they are for this assignment in the extended essay guide. Again, go back to the guide. It's always going to be a help to you. So I'm still sure that many of you don't know what you're going to choose. And I want to just offer a little bit more guidance. Ask yourself, am I taking an IB class in this subject area? It is so strongly recommended that you choose an IB subject that you're taking as your extended essay subject. You don't need to have that teacher as your extended essay mentor. That would be probably far too much for them to be able to handle in 1 year if they did all the extended essays. But you want it to be a subject that you're taking because you need to have the tools related to that subject area in order to succeed. If you've never taken a class in that subject, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to know the conventions of academic study in that area. So please try to limit yourself to IB areas of study. It's not forbidden to do other areas, but you're more likely to be successful if you've studied formally, especially an IB subject in the same area as your extended essay. I also want you to think, can I do my own analysis? A lot of students choose history extended essays. And while I'm not in any way, shape, or form telling you not to do a history extended essay, I want you to think about how difficult it might be to do your own analysis. If you just present a summary of facts surrounding the time period that you're studying, or present a list of other people's analysis of a historical event, you have not yet fulfilled the expectations of the extended essay. You have to be able to do your own analysis. The same is true when you're looking at science or psych essays where you're only using secondary sources. You have to analyze the data and the research on your own. You cannot just summarize what other people have found. That's extremely challenging. It can be done, but you need to make sure you fully understand that just reporting on what other people have researched and found is not enough. Some of our highest scoring essays have been in art and literature because the whole of the IB art, visual art, or literature class teaches you to analyze a text on your own. So largely you really know what you're doing in terms of analyzing on your own. And, does that guarantee you an A? Absolutely not. But don't be afraid of those subjects either, even though they can sometimes be not people's first choice. Also, am I an English teacher? Can I maybe help you a little more with the language and literature essay than I could with one of the science, psych, or math essays? Yeah, absolutely. I'm a skilled writer in all academic areas, but when it comes to the content, I'm going to be able to help you much more in the humanities than I am in the math and science areas. Think about what truly interests you. You're going to be spending a year and a half with this topic. You don't want it to just be miserable for you. Sometimes people are trying to focus on something they think will look good for college, but I promise that just having done this work will look good for college. So don't overburden yourself with a lot of ideas about what you think you should be doing. And finally, in what subjects am I most comfortable with academic writing? My guess is that you haven't done a lot of academic writing in math. That doesn't mean that you can't do an extended essay in math. I've seen them done, and I've seen them done fairly successfully. But think about writing an 8-page paper in math. If that is something that excites you, and going through analysis of how you solve a particular mathematical problem is something that sounds like you want to spend 1.5 years on it, then you should do that. If you're not comfortable in IB literature and you're only taking that subject because you're full diploma, then of course don't write your extended essay in IB literature. So think about where you're most comfortable academically. It's always good to stretch yourself, but this is a big project, and just doing it is itself a stretch. So don't be afraid to pick something that you know you can succeed at. If there are any questions, of course you can ask me. Send me an email, drop by my Zoom office hours, and I will try to help you navigate these questions.